In a grand chamber aboard the Galactic Council ship, representatives from various alien species gathered, their faces a mix of worry and anger. This meeting was crucial. Reports flooded in from all corners of the galaxy about a rising threat: humans. The council members, with their bright skin and intricate features, were known for their wisdom, but today they struggled to understand what made humanity so bold. High above the council chamber, a massive screen displayed scenes of chaos from Earth. Ships filled with humans were launching missions beyond their home planet, exploring new worlds and claiming territories. The footage showed humans working together, building their fleets, and developing advanced technologies. It shocked the council members. "They should know their place," hissed a Xylorian delegate, his eyes narrowing. "They are nothing but primitive beings." Another council member, a tall and graceful Alorian with luminescent skin, shook her head. "We cannot underestimate them. They are resourceful. Their spirit is unbreakable." The room fell silent as everyone pondered her words. As the debate continued, Captain Mira Kane stood in a command center on Earth. She watched the council's meeting on a screen, her heart racing. The world around her buzzed with anxious energy. Military leaders and scientists filled the room, their eyes glued to the screen. Mira had always believed in humanity's strength, but now she felt the weight of responsibility pressing on her shoulders. The council's discussion grew louder, filled with accusations and fears. "We must act now," shouted a Frilken delegate, his voice echoing. "We must send a message to Earth. If we do not stop them, they will take over the galaxy." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Mira's mind raced. She knew that the aliens did not understand humans. They saw them as a threat, but she saw a chance to show their true nature. "What are they thinking?" she whispered to herself, determined to find a way to communicate with the council. She believed in peace and cooperation, and it was time to show the galaxy that humanity was more than just a threat. Back in the council chamber, the tension reached its peak. "A ceasefire is necessary," called out the Alorian. "We must offer them a chance to prove themselves. They may not be as dangerous as we believe." The Xylorian delegate snorted in disbelief. "A chance? They are a danger to us all. We cannot let them get away with their audacity." He pointed an accusing finger at the screen, showing images of human ships entering new territories. "They have already crossed too many lines." Captain Kane sensed the rising panic. She turned to her team, filled with determination. "We need to respond. We can show them that we mean no harm. We can show them our strength." Her voice was steady, igniting a fire within her team. The room erupted in discussions as they prepared for a plan. As the council debated, Mira gathered her military leaders, scientists, and engineers. They formed a diverse team, each member bringing unique skills. Mira knew that if they were going to prove themselves to the council, they needed to be strategic and strong. "We will conduct military drills," she declared. "We will showcase our capabilities and show the galaxy who we really are." The team nodded, their faces filled with resolve. They would not back down. They would prove that humanity was more than just a species fighting for survival. They would show the council their true strength. Back in the council chamber, the vote for a ceasefire was about to begin. The Alorian raised her hand, urging everyone to consider the potential for peace. But the Xylorian's anger fueled his words. "They are wild and untrained. We must crush their hopes before they grow stronger." Mira could feel the weight of the council's decision. The future of humanity hung in the balance, and she was determined to change their minds. As the vote began, she silently vowed to fight for her people, to show the galaxy the true meaning of strength and resilience. And so, as the council prepared to cast their votes, the stage was set for a clash between the unknown and the familiar. Captain Kane and her team were ready to take on the challenge. Little did the council know, this was just the beginning of a much bigger story. The stakes were high, and humanity was just getting started. As the vote unfolded in the Galactic Council chamber, tension crackled in the air like static electricity. Representatives from countless species, each with their own agendas and histories, faced a crucial decision that could alter the course of the galaxy. Mira Kane watched from Earth, her heart pounding, knowing that whatever the Council decided would shape humanity's fate. In the Council chamber, the Alorian leader spoke up again, her voice steady and calm. We must not react with fear. Humans have shown bravery and intelligence. If we strike now, we risk igniting a war that could devastate both our worlds. We need a better approach. But the Xylorian, with his fierce demeanor, would not be swayed. Let us not forget their history, he argued, leaning forward. Humans have a reputation for conflict. It's only a matter of time before they turn their ambitions toward us. We must act decisively. His words ignited a heated debate among the council members, each arguing for their own perspective. The room buzzed with accusations, fears, and wild speculation, drowning out the possibility of peace. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Mira gathered her team in a war room filled with maps, data screens, and holographic displays. The atmosphere was electric with urgency. They had to demonstrate human strength and capability. But how could they communicate this effectively to beings who saw them as a threat? Mira paced the floor, contemplating their options. Listen up, everyone. Mira's voice rang out, cutting through the chatter. We need to prepare for a series of demonstrations. I want our best pilots, engineers, and combat strategists on this. We're going to show the Council who we really are, and we're going to do it fast. Her eyes shone with determination, igniting a fire within her team. As the team dispersed to their tasks, Mira took a moment to reflect. She understood the weight of the mission ahead. If they failed, it would only reinforce the Council's fears. But Mira also felt a surge of hope. Humanity had always thrived in adversity, and this time would be no different. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the vote was nearing its conclusion. The Xylorian delegate stood firm, urging immediate action against Earth. Let us not waste time. We must send a fleet to deter them before they grow too powerful. He raised his hand, signaling his support for an aggressive stance. As the votes were counted, the Alorian sighed. The choice is clear. We have voted for a ceasefire, but the implications of this decision must be considered. We cannot allow fear to govern our actions. The council members nodded reluctantly, but many still cast their votes out of fear rather than understanding. When the final count came in, a thin majority favored a ceasefire, but not without heated discussions. As the council prepared to announce the results, the atmosphere felt charged with uncertainty. Mira watched intently, her heart racing. This was a pivotal moment for humanity, and they had to seize the opportunity. Once the council's decision was announced, the Alorian leader stood up to address the room. We must send an envoy to Earth. They need to understand our concerns and fears, and we need to understand theirs. We will give them a chance to prove themselves. A chorus of mixed reactions filled the chamber, some supporting the idea while others scoffed at the notion. Mira saw this as a golden opportunity. If they send an envoy, we can use it to our advantage, she thought. They would not only prepare for their military displays, but also extend an olive branch. Perhaps through dialogue, they could dismantle the misconceptions surrounding humanity. Let's get to work, Mira shouted, rallying her team. We need to prepare our best demonstration of strength. We will showcase our technological advancements and combat training, but we must also show them that we are capable of mercy and cooperation. The team nodded in agreement, fired up and ready to face the challenge ahead. Over the following days, as Earth's military prepared for their showcase, the atmosphere was charged with determination. Mira and her team worked tirelessly, fine-tuning their strategies and rehearsing their demonstrations. They trained relentlessly, pushing their physical and mental limits, showcasing everything from advanced ship maneuvers to effective combat tactics. As the day of the Council's envoy approached, tensions remained high. The Council's representatives were making their way to Earth, and there was no room for error. Mira felt a sense of responsibility weigh heavily on her shoulders, but she also felt a glimmer of hope. This was a chance not only to prove humanity's strength, but also to showcase their capacity for peace. As the sun set over Earth, casting a golden hue across the skies, Mira gathered her team one last time before the envoy's arrival. Today, we will show them our strength, but more importantly, we will show them that we are more than what they perceive. Let's make our stand. With that, she led them out to the launch pad, where ships waited, engines humming, ready to rise into the stars. As they prepared for the arrival of the Galactic Council envoy, Mira couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something monumental. The stakes were high, and humanity was ready to fight for their place in the galaxy. Whatever happened next, they would stand strong, united in their purpose. The day had finally come. The anticipation was palpable as Mira Kane and her team stood on the launch pad, ready to greet the Galactic Council's envoy. Ships buzzed around them, humming with energy, their sleek designs a testament to human engineering. But the true test lay ahead. Would humanity's display be enough to change the Council's perspective? The sun hummed low in the sky, casting a golden glow over the launch site. Mira watched as her heart raced. She felt a mix of excitement and anxiety as she recalled their last encounter with the Council. They had been branded as a threat, but today they had a chance to redefine that image. Remember, everyone, Mira addressed her team, her voice steady but full of determination. This is not just about showing our military might. It's about showing who we really are. We are capable of compassion, innovation, and strength. Let's prove it to them. As they prepared, the distant hum of engines grew louder. Mira turned to see the Council's envoy ship, a massive vessel gliding through the atmosphere. It was adorned with the symbols of the Galactic Council, shimmering under the sun. The sight struck a chord in Mira's heart. It was both awe-inspiring and intimidating. "Here we go," she whispered to herself, drawing a deep breath as the ship landed gracefully on the designated pad. The ground trembled slightly as it touched down, and the ramp lowered slowly, revealing a group of delegates, each representing different species of the Council. The first to step forward was Ambassador Thala, the Alorian leader, her features elegant and composed. She scanned the scene, her sharp eyes taking in the preparations around her. Behind her were delegates of various species, their expressions a mix of curiosity and wariness. "Welcome to Earth," Mira called out, stepping forward with confidence. "We are honored to host you and look forward to demonstrating what humanity can do." The warmth in her voice was genuine, but she noticed the Alorian's skeptical gaze lingering on the weaponry displayed nearby. "Thank you, Commander Kane," Ambassador Thala replied, her voice steady yet diplomatic. "We hope to learn more about your capabilities and perhaps your intentions." Mira nodded, feeling the weight of those words. Intentions were everything. "We're here to prove that we can be allies rather than adversaries. Please, allow us to show you our capabilities." As the delegates moved to a designated viewing area, Mira signaled for the first demonstration to begin. The sound of engines roared to life, and their best pilots took to the sky. The ships soared above, executing impressive maneuvers and formations that highlighted human ingenuity and skill. Dazzling aerial displays captivated the delegates, their eyes wide with astonishment. The alien representatives murmured among themselves, clearly impressed. Mira felt a surge of pride as she observed their reactions. However, she knew they were only at the beginning of what they needed to show. The aerial display concluded with a series of synchronized dives, the ships glinting in the sunlight before they landed smoothly back on the launch pad. The applause from the gathered military personnel and officials echoed through the air. "Impressive," Ambassador Thala said, her tone shifting slightly as she regarded the pilots. "Your aerial maneuvers display remarkable precision." "Thank you," Mira replied, her confidence bolstered. "But that's just one part of what we can do. Next, we'll show you our ground operations." Mira led the delegates to a nearby training area where soldiers were lined up for a demonstration of hand-to-hand combat. She gestured for the first group to step forward. "Here, we emphasize training not just for combat, but for discipline, teamwork, and resilience. The soldiers moved with fluid grace, executing strikes and blocks in perfect synchronization. Mira explained the principles behind their training, emphasizing the values of cooperation and strategic thinking. The alien delegates watched, some nodding in approval. But it was when a demonstration of resilience began that the true surprise unfolded. One soldier, a veteran named Mark, volunteered for a demonstration that would shock everyone. "I will show you the limits of our training," he stated confidently. Mira's heart raced as Mark stood against a simulated enemy. As he fought, a controlled injury was simulated, and he appeared to be hurt, falling to one knee. But instead of surrendering, he pushed through the pain, demonstrating sheer willpower and determination. The aliens watched, eyes wide with disbelief. As Mark continued to fight despite the simulation of losing a limb, gasps rippled through the alien delegates. This display of human resilience stunned them, challenging their preconceived notions of weakness. What kind of beings endure such pain? One of the Zalorian delegates whispered to Ambassador Thala, disbelief evident in his voice. "Creatures of remarkable spirit," Thala replied, still focused on the demonstration. "We have underestimated them." As the demonstration ended, the applause from the humans echoed loudly, but Mira could sense a shift in the atmosphere. The delegates were reevaluating their understanding of humanity, and she couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. "Today," Mira announced, "you have seen a glimpse of what we can do. But there's more to humanity than just combat. We believe in collaboration, creativity, and innovation. Together, we can build a better future." The delegates exchanged glances, and for the first time, she noticed genuine interest in their expressions. Perhaps, just perhaps, this day would mark a turning point in their relationship with the Galactic Council. With the initial demonstrations complete, Mira felt a surge of excitement. The path to understanding was being laid before them, one step at a time. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm glow over the training ground, she knew the journey was only beginning. And with it, humanity's destiny among the stars was about to unfold. The atmosphere around the training area buzzed with excitement and curiosity. Mira Kane could sense that the alien delegates were no longer merely spectators. They were participants in a newfound dialogue about what humanity truly represented. As the day progressed, they transitioned from demonstrations to discussions, each word carrying the weight of potential change. Mira gathered her team for a brief huddle, her brow slightly furrowed with concentration. "I want each of you to engage with the delegates. Let them see our passion for innovation, not just our military prowess," she instructed. "We need to show them that we are more than fighters. We are creators, thinkers, and partners." With renewed determination, the team dispersed to mingle with the delegates. Mira watched as her colleagues shared stories about human achievements, everything from the creation of art and technology to advancements in science and medicine. The council members listened intently, their expressions shifting from skepticism to intrigue. Meanwhile, Ambassador Thala approached Mira, a thoughtful look on her face. "You mentioned earlier that your people are not just warriors. Can you elaborate on this?" she asked, genuinely curious. Mira smiled, seizing the opportunity. "Absolutely. Our culture values diversity in thought and creativity. Take our art, for instance. It reflects our experiences, our dreams, and our struggles. It is a means of connecting with others, sharing our humanity." As she spoke, Mira gestured toward a nearby tent showcasing human art and technology. Intrigued, Thala followed her lead. Inside the tent, vibrant paintings adorned the walls, each telling a unique story. Sculptures of varying sizes captured the eye, embodying both human fragility and strength. "What a vivid expression of your history," Thala remarked, admiring a sculpture that depicted a human embracing an alien creature. "It seems you cherish life in all its forms." "Exactly," Mira replied, her enthusiasm infectious. "We believe that our differences make us stronger. Our creativity can foster understanding and unity." Just then, A commotion arose outside the tent. Mira and Thula hurried to investigate, and they were met with a startling sight. A group of alien soldiers had gathered, curiously watching as a team of human engineers set up a demonstration of advanced robotics. The human engineers were showcasing a new generation of drones designed for various purposes: exploration, search and rescue, and even environmental restoration. Mira noticed the interest sparkling in the eyes of the alien soldiers. "Welcome," one of the engineers called out, his voice warm and inviting. "We're excited to show you how these drones work." With a nod from Mira, the demonstration began. The drones took off gracefully, executing complex maneuvers in the air. The aliens watched in awe as the machines worked together, gathering data and showcasing their capabilities. "They communicate with each other," one of the Zalorian delegates remarked, marveling at the display. "It's as if they possess a collective intelligence." "They do. We designed them to learn and adapt. It allows us to solve problems in real time," the engineer replied proudly. As the demonstration continued, Mira observed the shift in the alien delegates' demeanor. The skepticism that had initially colored their expressions was being replaced by admiration. They began to ask questions, wanting to understand the technology and the philosophy behind it. Suddenly, the unexpected occurred. One of the drones malfunctioned mid-flight, spiraling toward the ground. Gasps filled the air as everyone watched, but Mira's heart raced for a different reason. Before she could react, a soldier from the Zalorian delegation sprang into action. "Allow me," he exclaimed, launching himself forward. With a swift motion, he reached out and caught the drone before it crashed, landing gracefully on his feet. The crowd erupted in cheers, amazed by the Zalorian's agility and speed. "Remarkable," Ambassador Thula praised, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "You have shown us not just your technology, but your teamwork and your adaptability." Mira smiled, appreciating the moment. "That's the essence of humanity. We learn, we adapt, and we grow together, just as you've demonstrated." As the event continued, discussions grew more in-depth. The delegates began sharing their own technologies and cultural practices, eager to foster a relationship built on mutual respect and understanding. What had once felt like an insurmountable divide was beginning to bridge. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant hues of orange and purple. Mira stood with her team, watching the interactions unfold. She felt a sense of accomplishment. Perhaps this day would mark a new beginning, not just for humanity, but for the galaxy as a whole. As the evening settled in, Mira gathered the delegates for a final round of discussions. "Today, we have shared our capabilities and values, but we must also acknowledge our shared vulnerabilities. Together, we can address the challenges our galaxy faces. We are not just a species to be feared. We are a community seeking to collaborate." The room fell silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Mira could feel the tension dissipate, replaced by a sense of hope and possibility. The delegates nodded, murmuring in agreement. "Perhaps it is time we reconsider our stance on humanity," Ambassador Thula finally said, her voice steady. "We must recognize that true strength lies not only in combat, but in cooperation." Mira smiled, a wave of relief washing over her. It was a small victory, but one that could pave the way for a brighter future. As the discussions continued late into the evening, Mira knew that humanity's journey among the stars had just begun. There was much work to be done, but together they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The night was filled with laughter, shared stories, and plans for collaboration. In that moment, under the vastness of the galaxy, Mira felt hope blossom. Humanity had taken its first steps toward becoming not just survivors, but contributors to a larger cosmic community. And for the first time, the future seemed limitless. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of anticipation as Mira Kane and her team prepared for the second day of discussions with the alien delegates. The previous day had transformed the dynamics between the two parties, igniting a spark of cooperation. Mira felt that they were on the verge of something monumental, a potential alliance that could reshape the future. As the sun rose over the alien landscape, Mira stood at the edge of the camp, looking out at the sprawling terrain. Strange flora surrounded them, with colors that seemed too vivid to be real. The air buzzed with the sounds of alien creatures awakening, reminding her how different and yet fascinating the galaxy could be. Once everyone had gathered in the central tent, Mira welcomed the delegates with a warm smile. "Thank you all for joining us again today. Yesterday was a significant step forward. Let's keep that momentum going." Ambassador Thola nodded, her expression serious. "Indeed, but we must also address the underlying tensions. Many in the Galactic Council are still wary of humanity's potential. They fear your technological advances could lead to dominance rather than partnership." Mira glanced around the room, noting the serious faces of the delegates. "We understand that fear, but I assure you, our goal is not to dominate but to collaborate. To prove this, we have prepared a series of demonstrations that highlight our cooperative spirit." The delegates murmured among themselves, intrigued. Mira outlined the plan for the day, which included showcasing not only human technology, but also how they had worked alongside other species to innovate and solve problems. "Let's start with our agricultural advancements," Mira suggested. "We've partnered with various species to create sustainable farming techniques that could benefit everyone. This is how we can ensure food security across different planets." As they moved to the agricultural demo area, Mira felt a wave of nervousness wash over her. She wanted to impress the aliens and show them that cooperation could yield extraordinary results. They arrived at a lush plot of land where human farmers had collaborated with alien agronomists. Bright crops thrived in neat rows, showcasing an array of colors and textures. A human farmer stepped forward, eager to explain their work. "Welcome, esteemed delegates. Today, we'll show you our innovative vertical farming system that utilizes hydroponics and aeroponics," he said, gesturing to the towering structures filled with vibrant plants. One of the Zalorian delegates raised an eyebrow. "You claim to work with other species. How is that possible?" The farmer smiled, stepping closer to a section of the farm. "By combining our knowledge and techniques, we've been able to enhance growth rates and improve the nutritional value of crops. This is not just human innovation. It's a culmination of wisdom from many worlds." Mira watched as the delegates examined the crops closely, their initial skepticism starting to fade. She felt hope swelling within her as they began to ask questions about the processes involved. As the discussions flowed, an unexpected commotion broke out near the edge of the demo area. A group of alien soldiers had gathered, pointing and shouting in alarm. Mira's heart raced as she and the delegates rushed to see what was happening. A colossal creature had emerged from the forest, an enormous beast resembling a cross between a bear and a dinosaur. It was growling, its sharp teeth glinting in the sunlight. The alien soldiers quickly moved into formation, weapons raised, ready to defend against the threat. "Stay back," one soldier shouted, positioning himself in front of the delegates. It could be dangerous. But Mira felt a surge of adrenaline. She couldn't let fear take control. "No, wait," she called out, stepping forward. "Let me handle this." The soldiers looked at her incredulously, but she continued. "We have to show them that we can work together, even in the face of danger." Without waiting for a response, she approached the creature slowly, arms outstretched in a gesture of peace. She remembered what she had learned from her childhood about animal behavior. If she could remain calm, perhaps it would sense her intention. The creature snorted and reared back, but Mira held her ground. "Easy, big guy," she murmured, keeping her voice steady. "We're not here to hurt you." To her surprise, the creature paused, its eyes narrowing as it sniffed the air. The alien soldiers held their breath, unsure of what would happen next. Mira took another step closer, reaching for a pouch on her belt. Inside was a handful of nutrient-rich food designed for both plants and animals. She slowly extended her hand, offering the food to the creature. "Here, it's safe," she said softly. The creature hesitated, then slowly approached, It sniffed the food curiously before gently taking it from her hand. The crowd gasped in unison, watching the unexpected interaction unfold. The tension in the air dissipated as the alien soldiers lowered their weapons. "Incredible," one of the Zilorian delegates whispered, captivated by Mira's bravery. Mira could feel the shift in perception. She had turned a potentially dangerous situation into a moment of unity. The creature munched contentedly on the food, and Mira took the opportunity to engage with the delegates. "This is a perfect example of how we can coexist," she said, her voice filled with passion. "Rather than seeing each other as threats, we can learn to understand and appreciate the diversity of life. Just like this creature here." The delegates exchanged glances, their expressions transforming from shock to admiration. It was a pivotal moment that highlighted not only Mira's courage, but also humanity's ability to adapt and connect with other life forms. As the creature moved away, the crowd erupted in applause. Mira felt a rush of relief and exhilaration. This was more than a demonstration of human strength. It was a testament to the power of compassion and understanding. Ambassador Thola approached Mira, her eyes sparkling with newfound respect. "Your actions today have demonstrated that humanity can be a powerful ally, not just a formidable foe. Perhaps it is time we reconsider our approach to you and your people." Mira smiled, her heart swelling with hope. "Together, we can build a future where all species thrive. This is just the beginning of our journey." The day continued with an air of camaraderie, discussions flowing freely and ideas blossoming. As they returned to the central tent, Mira knew that they had made significant progress. The seeds of a new alliance had been planted, and with patience and collaboration, they could nurture them into something extraordinary. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the gathering, Mira felt a sense of unity that transcended the barriers of species and culture. This was the dawn of a new era, one where humanity would not just survive but flourish alongside their galactic neighbors. The atmosphere in the tent was thick with anticipation as Mira came and the delegates prepared for the most crucial meeting yet. The previous day's unexpected alliance had shifted the dynamics, but now the Galactic Council was calling for an emergency session to address the implications of humanity's newfound partnership. Mira could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her shoulders. "Are you ready?" whispered David, her trusted aide, as he adjusted the collar of his uniform. His eyes reflected both concern and hope. Mira took a deep breath, steadying herself. "We have to be. This could change everything." As they entered the grand hall of the council, Mira was struck by its grandeur. Massive holographic displays flickered to life, showcasing the myriad species that inhabited the galaxy. Each alien delegate occupied their designated platform, their forms glowing with anticipation and tension. The chamber buzzed with whispers, and Mira's heart raced. "Humanity has taken unprecedented steps in recent discussions," began the council leader, a towering figure with iridescent skin and piercing eyes. "However, we must address the concerns raised by several factions regarding the potential risks involved in this alliance." Mira stepped forward, her voice steady but firm. "We understand the apprehensions surrounding humanity, but I assure you, our intentions are rooted in collaboration, not domination. Together, we can face threats greater than ourselves." The council leader raised a hand, silencing the murmurs. "Yet there are reports of your military advancements and the ongoing developments of new technologies that some fear may tip the balance of power. The Carthians, in particular, have raised serious objections." A hush fell over the assembly as a Carthian delegate, a slender creature with elongated limbs and a head adorned with delicate antennae, stood up. "Humanity's aggression has been noted. Your kind has demonstrated the capacity for warfare. We cannot overlook this as a potential threat to our stability." Mira's heart sank. She had anticipated this response, but hoped for a different outcome. "We have evolved, just as all species do. Our focus now is on defense and peace, not conquest. We only seek to protect ourselves and our allies." Protection or aggression? The Carthian challenged. How can we trust that your actions won't escalate into conflict? History shows that fear often leads to violence. Ambassador Thela interjected, her voice rising above the din. If I may, we've witnessed humanity's courage in the face of danger. The incident with the creature yesterday demonstrated their capacity for empathy and understanding, qualities we need to embrace rather than fear. Mira felt a surge of hope as the room fell silent, but it quickly waned when another voice broke in, a representative from the Zygothan faction, a hulking creature covered in metallic scales. Emotions won't keep us safe. We need guarantees. We cannot allow the humans to weaponize their advancements without oversight. Mira could see the council fracturing into factions, each pulling in a different direction. What would you propose then? Restrictions on our technology. Monitoring. We're willing to work within a framework that ensures accountability, but it must not cripple our ability to defend ourselves. The council leader's voice boomed through the hall. Your proposal must include a treaty that limits your military capabilities and outlines a plan for mutual defense against external threats. Only then can we consider an alliance. Mira's pulse quickened. This was an ultimatum she hadn't anticipated. If you impose such restrictions, it risks our sovereignty. We need to be free to protect ourselves against immediate threats. We will comply with reasonable guidelines, but we cannot be shackled while the galaxy is in danger. Then we are at an impasse, the council leader replied, his tone final. We must deliberate on these terms. If no agreement can be reached, the council may have no choice but to declare a ceasefire and reconsider our interactions with humanity. The weight of the room pressed down on Mira as she processed their words. A ceasefire? You mean to abandon any chance of collaboration? We must consider the safety of all species, the Carthian retorted. If humanity cannot ensure it will not become a threat, then our only course is to protect ourselves. As the council began to bicker among themselves, Mira turned to David, her mind racing. What do we do now? We can't let this slip away. He nodded, his brow furrowed. We need to appeal to the council's sense of urgency. There are larger threats out there. We can't allow fear of humanity to dictate our fate. Mira took a deep breath, her resolve hardening. You're right. We need to remind them what we're up against. As she stepped forward once again, she felt the eyes of the delegates upon her. Esteemed council, while you deliberate our future, I urge you to remember that the galaxy faces threats far beyond our borders. The Xenon Empire looms large, and they would see all of us destroyed. We must unite now, before it's too late. Her words rang out like a beacon, drawing attention to the very real dangers that lay ahead. The council leaders paused, contemplating the gravity of her statement. Imagine, Mira continued, her voice rising, if we united our strengths and resources against a common enemy. Together, we are formidable. Divided, we are vulnerable. The tension in the room shifted, the delegates exchanging wary glances. Let us show you our commitment, Mira said passionately. Let us work together to build a coalition, not just for humanity's sake, but for the safety of all species. We must prepare for the unknown. There was a silence, heavy with contemplation, as the delegates considered her words. Mira could feel the atmosphere shift as doubt began to creep into their defenses. Very well, the council leader finally replied, his voice thoughtful. We shall take your proposal into consideration. But know this, if we cannot find common ground, we will be forced to take measures to ensure the safety of our people. As the meeting adjourned, Mira stepped back, her heart pounding. They had gained a sliver of hope, but the stakes had never been higher. The council's decision would determine not just the future of humanity, but the fate of the galaxy itself. As she exited the chamber, David caught her eye. That was powerful, Mira, but we still have a long way to go. Mira nodded, determination surging through her veins. Then we fight for it. Together, we can turn fear into unity. The future of our worlds depends on it. Mira Kane sat in her office, the screens around her flickering with updates from the council. Tensions were still high, but the Council's deliberation had shifted focus after her impassioned plea. She felt a mix of relief and anxiety as she reviewed the latest reports. The Galactic Council was beginning to consider humanity's plea for collaboration, but resistance remained among some factions. "Do you think they'll really come around?" David asked, leaning against the doorframe. He had been her steadfast companion throughout this ordeal, his presence a source of strength. "I believe they will," Mira replied, her voice steady. "But we need to show them that we're serious. We have to demonstrate that we can work together before the Council makes any decisions." Just then, the comms system chimed. An urgent message flashed across the screen, drawing her attention. It was from the Carthian delegate, Krentok, who had expressed the strongest opposition to humanity's involvement. "An emergency meeting," David muttered, his brows furrowing in concern. "What now?" Mira's heart raced as she accepted the call. Krentok's holographic form materialized, his antennae twitching with agitation. "Mira Kane, we have a situation. The Xenon Empire has mobilized its fleet. They are on a direct course for our sector." Mira felt a chill run down her spine. "What do you mean? They're attacking?" "Not yet, but we believe they're testing our defenses," Krentok said, his voice low. "We need to act quickly, and I fear we may not have the luxury of time to continue debating humanity's role." Mira's mind raced. This was it. The threat they had been warning the Council about was becoming real. "If they're testing our defenses, we need to unite our forces. This is our chance to prove ourselves." "Exactly," Krentok replied. "I propose an emergency coalition meeting. We must discuss a joint defense strategy immediately." Mira glanced at David, who nodded encouragingly. "I'll gather the other delegates. We need to be prepared for whatever the Xenon Empire throws at us." As the meeting was arranged, Mira felt the urgency of the situation galvanizing her spirit. She knew this was a pivotal moment. The delegates needed to see that humanity could stand shoulder to shoulder with their allies, ready to defend not just themselves but all sentient life in the galaxy. When the delegates assembled, the air was charged with tension. The Carthian representative took the lead, addressing the group with urgency. "We face a real threat, one that will not discriminate between us. The Xenon Empire seeks dominance over all. If we do not unify, we will fall." Mira stepped forward, feeling the weight of the moment. "This is our opportunity to demonstrate that we are not a threat but allies. We have technology, strategies, and resolve to offer. Together, we can form a strong front." The Zygothan delegate, still skeptical but increasingly concerned, raised an eyebrow. "And how do we know humanity will not act in its self-interest when push comes to shove?" Mira took a deep breath. "We don't, but we can show you. Let us prove our commitment. We can share our resources, knowledge, and troops for this defense. Together, we can face the Xenon Empire." A wave of murmurs swept through the assembly as the delegates considered her words. "An alliance against a common enemy," Krentok stated. "It is a sound strategy. But we must ensure there is oversight and mutual respect in this coalition." Mira nodded in agreement. "Absolutely. We need a clear chain of command and communication to coordinate our efforts effectively." After hours of intense discussions and strategizing, the delegates finally began to solidify their plans. A united front was taking shape, and Mira could feel the momentum building. They developed a multi-species coalition task force, pooling their strengths and capabilities. As the council disbanded, Mira felt a sense of hope. They had turned the tide, and now they were ready to face the Xenon Empire together. She glanced at David, who beamed with pride. "We did it," he said, his voice filled with excitement. "Not yet," Mira replied, her eyes scanning the room filled with diverse representatives. "This is just the beginning. We have to remain vigilant." Days passed, and the coalition prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Mira found herself leading training sessions, collaborating with alien forces, and strategizing their defenses. Each species brought unique abilities and perspectives, and Mira felt the bond of camaraderie growing stronger with each passing moment. Then the day of reckoning arrived. Alarms blared across the Galactic Federation as the Xenon fleet breached their outer defenses. Mira stood on the command deck, a holographic map displaying the incoming ships. Her heart raced, but she felt a surge of confidence knowing they weren't alone. "Positions," Mira called out, her voice steady. "We fight for our homes, our people, and each other." As the ships engaged in combat, the coalition fought with unmatched resolve. Mira's heart swelled with pride as she witnessed humanity and their allies standing together, each race using its unique strengths to defend their worlds. In the heat of battle, Mira led her troops valiantly. She felt alive, the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The Xenon Empire underestimated them, just as so many had before. The coalition proved to be a formidable force, pushing back against the invaders. Mira rallied her troops, coordinating their movements with precision. They had come together as a family, and it showed in their fierce determination. As the dust settled and the battle reached its climax, the remaining Xenon forces began to retreat. Cheers erupted from the coalition, and Mira felt a rush of victory wash over her. "We did it," David shouted, his voice echoing through the command deck. "Yes, we did," Mira replied, her heart soaring with joy and relief. This is what unity can accomplish. In that moment, they had forged a new path for humanity and their allies, one of cooperation and strength. The Galactic Council's previous doubts seemed distant now, replaced by a newfound respect for what humanity could contribute to the galaxy. As the delegates gathered to assess the situation, Mira stepped forward, ready to advocate for the next steps. "We've shown what we can do together. Let this victory serve as a foundation for a lasting alliance. We must build on this moment, ensuring that no threat can ever challenge us again." The council leaders nodded in agreement, their eyes reflecting the change in perspective. Humanity had proven itself not just as a species, but as an essential partner in the galaxy. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. United, they were no longer just separate species. They were a force to be reckoned with, a coalition ready to shape the future of the galaxy. And for the first time, Mira felt a sense of belonging, knowing that humanity had found its place among the stars.